If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that sub button for more amazing content. Now, let's jump straight into the video. Good YouTube, and welcome back to the Bofina1 podcast, and I am your host, Bofina1. As you guys can see behind me, the view has changed. Like I said, now in my new place, you guys can see, how it's looking and whatnot. You guys can also see I'm actually showing my face, so you guys can see me, and so just trying to plan around with the podcast, making various type of content. Like, I want y'all to be able to actually see my face when I'm producing the content, as well as my facial expression, what I'm talking about, and also what I'm seeing, because I've noticed that people tend to have more of a connection with you when they actually can see. But like I said, we'll see how this goes. So yeah, welcome back to the podcast. We are actually on episode 11. So yeah, we're moving. So I actually got quite a few topics today. As you guys can see on my channel or my screen right here, the first topic that I want to talk about is YouTube Shorts. So we all know kind of YouTube Shorts pretty much is like it's pretty much like TikTok. I feel like that's kind of what YouTube's trying to do. It's a clip that has to be less than 60 seconds, and it's pretty much showing something, talking about something. It could be something funny, whatever the case is. I actually tried it on my Bofina1 Life channel. So I made a YouTube Shorts pretty much talking about, are YouTube Shorts gonna be bigger than TikTok? Because we all know TikTok kind of started the whole short form content. I think YouTube's kind of realizing that, we're gonna get outbeat, we're gonna get outplayed, like they're going to beat us essentially if we don't get in on this. But YouTube Shorts has been out. Like, that's the other thing. And it's not like something that has not been out. It has. But I feel like now that they're talking about monetization and how to get monetized, I feel like people are starting to take it just a little bit more seriously than they normally would. But anyway, let's just check out this article. So YouTube is monetizing shorts with 45% revenue splits. So YouTube creator will soon be able to make money from shorts as the company announces a plan to expand monetization in the coming months. So YouTube announces shorts will soon be eligible for monetization, and creators will keep 45% of the revenue generated from viewership. This is a significant update for creators who earn income on YouTube. Unlike long-form videos, which allow creators to profit from ad revenue, shorts has no direct path to monetization. YouTube has a shorts fund that awards money to creators for popular videos. However, that's not the same as residual income streams. In addition to monetizing shorts, YouTube is expanding the eligibility criteria for the YouTube Partner Program. This will help more creators qualify to earn revenue with long and short form content. Here's more information. So the YouTube Shorts, so it's going to start in 2023. So it hasn't quite started yet. The YouTube Partner Program will be eligible to monetize shorts videos. This will allow creators to make money from ads that run between videos in the shorts feed. YouTube will add the revenue generated from ads in the shorts feed and pay out a share to creators at the end of the month. So it's going to be the same thing as those that are in the creators program. Essentially, you'll be able to, put your shorts out there. You're going to get paid at the end of the month, just like, anybody else that has, I guess you could say, not a YouTube Shorts channel or content. So expanding the YouTube program eligibility. To benefit from shorts monetization, creators must first get accepted into the YouTube Partner Program. To get more shorts focused creators into the Partner Program, YouTube is introducing a new eligibility criteria. So starting in 2023, creators can apply to the YouTube Partner Program by meeting a threshold of 1,000 subscribers and 10 million short views over 90 days. This change will allow creators to qualify for the Partner Program even if they don't publish long-form videos. When this change rolls out, YouTube will keep its existing criteria in place, which is 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. Lastly, YouTube says it will lower the qualifying threshold for fan funding in early 2023, allowing non-partner program creators to make money from viewer purchases. So, this is kind of what we sort of know right now, is that, people are going to be able to get paid essentially making short form content, which is interesting to see how this actually will end up playing out. Because for those of you who don't know, YouTube's always been kind of more, or has been leaning more towards longer watch time, meaning like if you make videos that are like less than 8-10 minutes long, sometimes they don't perform as well as videos that are like really long. That's why a lot of time, like podcasts, like for example, this podcast would do a lot better than a person that has maybe a 5 minute long video, even though that 5 minute video that they have, like it might start off getting more viewers, but in the end, that podcast may get more viewers over time because the podcast is longer. So like, let's say both of you only have a 50% retention time, right? So that 5-minute video, meaning that it's only like 2 minutes and 30 seconds is, your 50% retention. But let's say you have a 20-minute long podcast or a 30-minute long podcast. Well, that's 15 minutes, 50% retention. But that means that your retention time is still, in a sense, it's still 50%, but it's still bigger because your video is longer. So therefore you're keeping people retained on YouTube's platform longer, which is essentially what they want. So that's like the only thing that I'm a little skeptical about. But like I said, I did make a video on YouTube talking about like YouTube Shorts and is it gonna like blow out TikTok, and it got like 1.2K views. The only thing with YouTube Shorts is I don't know about, or it makes me question, is there longevity, like the longevity of it. Because YouTube's all about watch time. So, you'd have to get a lot of views on a shorts to get the same amount of watch time as a video that's longer. But like I said, I do think it's great because if you're someone that maybe wants to start doing TikTok and maybe you kind of got on the bandwagon a little late, kind of per se, you can still possibly be able to get that, kind of get in on that. But that's just, my personal opinion on it. But let me know your guys' thoughts about, YouTube Shorts. The second one is talking about the baby. So you guys can see I got it on my screen. So the baby, we all kind of know what happened with him and him making comments about people pretty much in their sexuality, people that are gay or that identify gay, LGBTQ community. They didn't really like that when he made those comments at the Rolling Loud. I personally didn't get it. I made a video on it. I didn't see what was the joke. I just didn't get it. And I just didn't think it was honestly I just didn't think it was funny. That's just point blank period. I didn't think it was funny. And so he's talking about, and I heard his last song, like Boogeyman or something like that. It wasn't that good in my opinion. I think that was probably some of his worst work. And pretty much he's talking about how he's being blackballed after low sales of Baby on Baby 2. So we all know, like I said, what happened with the whole Rolling Loud situation. And a lot of people didn't, they just kind of cut their ties with him. A lot of different brand deals, sponsorships, companies. I know the song with Dua Lipa that he made, Levitating, they took the version with the remix him off. I mean, he pretty much lost a lot of money because of doing that. He lost a lot of money because of the actions, just what he said. I mean, he has no one honestly to blame really but himself. But anyway, he pretty much is claiming that he's been blackballed because his sales are low. So the Baby recently released album Baby on Baby 2 garnered lowered sales in his previous projects, and the Charlotte rapper thinks it's because he's being blackballed. The project is projected to move 16,000 units in its first week. In contrast, Baby's previous solo record 2020 Blame It On Baby debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 and moved 124,000 album equivalent units per Billboard. Still, the Baby wasn't sweating the tepid projections and gave himself a pat on the back for sales. No bad for the blackballed baby, he wrote on his Instagram story, so we can see. So he's saying not bad. 16K units. So, that's a pretty significant drop. That's over 100,000 units less, more than that, that he did not sell. And it says the Baby had last project in 2020, Blame It On Baby, sold 124K first week. The media personality wrote on Twitter, his new project after being blackballed by Ebro Apple Music is scheduled to do less than 20K. Now you understand my Ebro convo. DSPs control who is hot and who is not. Fall out on favor with them, you're done. Ebro offered his own take on the situation, writing that Apple Music is far from the only DSP. Apple Music is not the only platform. Based on this dummy logic, the Baby should be doing well on the platform he works for. Is it? Ebro said. So, and this is coming from DJ Academics, Ebro, and this was the song here that I was telling y'all about, the Boogeyman song. That was straight ass, straight garbage, right? I don't know. I didn't really, him talking was more of the song than the actual freaking song itself. But nonetheless, I don't know. I mean, and then that's another thing too, the tours. His tours, I know, had got canceled because he wasn't able to sell enough tickets. or something like that. Like, I think they said he only sold a few hundred tickets. And then in this song, there's another controversy thing that he has going on. In this song, he talks something about Megan Thee Stallion, how he messed around with her while she was with Tory Lanez. That's what you guys don't know. With her and Tory Lanez had that altercation with the whole like shooting, and I won't say too much. I don't want to get like terminated off of YouTube, but that's essentially what happened. So I don't understand why he's so surprised. And I think after that incident happened, because a lot of people try to say, oh well, the Baby's music is no different than these other rappers. I don't know why people are making such a big deal. Like, his music is in some ways just as generic as these other rappers, but people don't make a big deal about it. And I think a lot of it is because these other rappers didn't make a comment about a specific group of people that would like superly or really offend them. I feel like for him, he kind of thought that, I don't know, I just think he thought that he was above, right? Because, like, let's be honest, the Baby has some music that's decent, but he's not some like lyrical genius by far. You know what I mean? Like, his music is cool, but I think it's more of it's upbeat, it's that kind of music. And so I just think once he made those comments, it was like, okay, let's take a deeper look at this guy. Like, there's nothing really special about him. But anyway, moving on from that, let's talk about the hurricane that is hitting Florida. Those of you who don't know, I did make a lot of kind of like comments or videos or whatever you want to call it, talking about that in particular, that I was going to be going to Florida, to Disney World. I was supposed to be there this week, so I'm here. So the trip actually did not happen, which kind of sucks, but it kind of is what it is. So Hurricane Ian on Florida hit this week. Yeah, well, it depends when this video comes up, but it hit like September 28th, the Wednesday or so. And it's a big deal. I mean, houses have been destroyed. I know we got like refunds for a lot of our stuff, like even Disney World, Universal Studios, they're all sending things like, hey, do you guys want to get your tickets refunded, get your money back, etc. And I hate when this type of stuff happens. I mean, obviously some people say, well, you live in Florida, so what do you expect? You should know. You kind of live in an area like this. They're known for hurricanes, they're known for storms, and there is truth to that. That's true, but it just sucks when it happens, because some people said, oh, why don't you just move? Well, it's not that simple to just move. Like, especially if you was born there, like, it's not so simple to just move. And so when those type of things happen, it really destroys a community. And so it makes it so it's like you have to start all the way over. You have to start from scratch, and people end up getting hurt, and they tell people to evacuate, but some people don't have the money to evacuate. Like, not everybody's in a situation where they have a bunch of money sitting in a savings account that they can just go grab and leave, or they have family in another state that they can go to. Like, it doesn't work like that. And I wish people would stop thinking that it does. But nonetheless, that hit. They had a Hurricane Fiona that had just bypassed them last week. So we was gonna go because we were like, okay, everything's good. It seems like the coast is clear. Well, now it ain't clear. So we ended up, getting. We already had bought like insurance and stuff for all those things. So it's good, because like I said, I just did not want to end up, if something was to happen weather-wise, we wouldn't be able to get our money back. So we did get our money back. I know a lot of people are trying to get their money back. I'm hoping that they can, because like I said, it's scary. That's scary. That's serious. And that's something you don't, because we were supposed to fly out there Sunday, September 24th. They were supposed to come back Saturday, October 1st. So we would have been able to get in there, but we would have had a hard time coming back. So where's my water at? Oh. We had a hard time coming back. So yeah, like I said, prayers to those that, have been affected and are still being affected right now, because that's something serious. The hurricane stuff, that ain't nothing to play with. I'm just hoping that it doesn't just completely destroy Florida as a whole, but I guess we kind of have to wait and see. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about here, so let's go back to sharing the screen. Oop, you guys can't see my face. Now you can. All right, so the next thing I wanted to talk about, these both kind of tie with one another, is that 71% of Americans say pay can't keep up with the inflation. So we all know inflation, meaning that, things are costing more for like the same thing. So that loaf of bread 2-3 years ago is now costing you more money than it did before. That gallon of gas, same gallon of gas is costing you more than it did 2-3 years ago. So that's what, we're talking about inflation. So now let's just read through this article. So though inflation has slowed, costs are far higher than they were last year, and many Americans are struggling to keep up with the cost of covering the most basic needs, from food to shelter and everything in between. And one new survey is showing yet another way that families continue to get slapped by inflation: wage stagnations. Here's what you need to know. So they're talking about Bank of America is pretty much just talking about 71%. I guess they took a screening of 824 employees, and 846 employees nationwide participated in the workplace survey in February. And then they had another second survey of 478. And they said the main takeaway is that people are still really stressed about inflation, and it's continuing to squeeze families' wallets. For example, in February, only 58% of people said that they felt their cost of living outpaced their salary and wages. And by July, that number had grown to 71%. In addition to worries about inflation outpacing their salary, 80% of people who answered the survey said they had concerns about their finances in general. And half of those people shared that they've had to make emergency moves to make ends meet. So we all know what that means. Emergency moves may be taking money out of your savings account, taking money out of 401k to use for like a hardship. That also could mean that, maybe you've had to find another job. Maybe you've had to sell things, items that you're no longer using to try to get money, possibly having to use a charge card, to charge things, which is kind of like a vicious cycle because you're charging something, but you really don't have enough money to be able to pay it off. But then, and that's what they call like revolving credit, where it's like, you're charging something, you're sending in the minimum balance, but the amount that you're charging is more than the amount that you're sending in. So then you end up just like kind of going in this vicious cycle over and over and over. So for example, 21% are working extra hours. That's kind of what I just said. 20% are actively looking for higher wage jobs, and 6% have resorted to a 401k hardship withdrawal this year. That's crazy. I didn't even read to this part yet, and I figured that's what they were talking about. So the major contributor to that stress is inflation, said Lorna Sabia, head of retirement personal wealth solution at Bank of America. August inflation report found that year over year, inflation had grown 8.1%. Some costs, such as the cost of energy, were shrinking in price, but the cost of most other necessities like food, clothing, vehicles, and housing have continued to rise. And like I said, we've all seen this. Like food is through the roof. Food is costing so much money now to get the same thing. Like what used to cost like something in 2019 or 2020 is costing like prices like for example, eggs. Eggs used to be really cheap. Eggs are like through the roof now. I mean, you're paying like $3 something, for eggs, and eggs used to be considered really cheap. Another thing, gas, right? So a lot of people have to get to work. Well, gas is costing more money, so it's costing more money to get to your job. Vehicles, okay, cost of vehicles have went up. And even if you have an older car, even things like oil changes are costing more money. So, for example, when I was getting my oil change a few years ago, my oil change was like $40. It's now damn near almost $60 to get the same service. It's costing more money. So that's the thing, but people's wages are not like growing. So like people are not getting 8.1% raises on their jobs. People are lucky if they get like a 3.5% raise. So when you start talking about getting raises that are, not like that, and then inflation is steady going up, your check is not stretching as far as what stuff is costing. And so, clothing, vehicles, and housing. That's the last thing it says. Housing has continued to rise. So we all know about housing. Rent is going up through the roof. Landlords are literally like raising rents $100, $200. And that's another discussion too. Remember, I was talking to like someone about this, or one of my friends or whatever. And it's like, that's the thing I don't understand. It's like some of these landlords have had these buildings for like years. These buildings are paid off and they're just charging a bunch of money because they like can. But I get it, like utilities are going up, right? But a lot of these landlords are making people pay for utilities. Like, don't let these landlords fool you. When they say like, oh, water's included, that doesn't necessarily mean like they're paying for it. You're paying for it. It's just included in the rent that they're charging you every month. A lot of these landlords are making people pay for their own electricity, their own heat, gas. Some places even making them pay for their own water. So you're literally paying for everything as if you're owning a home. Plus you're paying high rent. So I guess that's the part about it I don't get. And some of these buildings, like I said, like some of these landlords have had these buildings for like years. They're already paid for, and they're just raising rent because they can. But I think what they're missing, or what they don't realize, is that if you raise rent so much, you're gonna have people where they can't afford it. And what will happen is you're gonna end up having people pretty much getting evicted, right? So that's a process, meaning that, you have to file paperwork, you have to go to the court, you have to, like, as a landlord, you could go months without getting any type of bread, like meaning money. You can go months. A person can be in your place for months without paying. And a lot of time what they do before they even get evicted is the months that they're not paying, they'll just use that money to go buy something or go somewhere else. So the landlord isn't getting screwed. So that's the thing I don't understand about the whole greed factor. Is like me, if I was a landlord, I would want more consistent money, meaning that I would want a steady flow of income coming in. I wouldn't want to just cash grab as much as I can, because if every year you have new tenants, I mean, every year you're going to have to repaint. You're going to have to fix things up. People break things. People, leave scratches on the walls. It's just how it goes. So like, I would rather have a tenant or tenants that stay for 3 to 5 years. That way you have a more consistent cash flow without having to keep adding on repairs. Or, I mean, yeah, you can write it off, but it doesn't matter, and then every time you get a new tenant, you don't know how that tenant is. So it's like, it's always this like risk factor that I think people are not realizing. People are just getting greedy at this point. Like, I just think people are getting real life greedy at this point. But, so here's another one, a new survey that shows the real impacts of inflation on families. So the past few years have been, whirlwind for families. The rising price of basic needs, from groceries to rent to mortgages and even used cars, have not made things easier. So they're saying those jobs reports show that employment rates are increasingly strong. Inflation continues to be an issue. And a new report shows just how much wages are failing to keep up with inflation for middle-class families. Last month, inflation rates in the United States hit another record high at 9.1%. Consumer goods are exploding in price. And so most people surveyed think financial issues will continue to grow, with 61% believing the economy will be worse off over the next year than it is right now. Only 60% think they'll be better off financially next year from this year. And it's true. I mean, if inflation keeps going up and jobs are not giving them more money, well, what do you think is going to happen? Their money's going to get tighter and tighter. And so you turn into a recession. People can't afford to eat. People get set out. And so that's what it's like this whole cycle. So 77% of respondents say they're preparing for recession. 71% say they're already cutting back on spending to make ends meet. 38% say they've delayed a major purchase due to rising interest rates. And this is the next topic. They're talking about they're talking about buying a home. Major purchase, either they're talking about a car or a home, but 9 out of 10, they're talking about a home. 30% report having to rely more on their credit cards to make purchases, which is what I was talking about, like having a charge card. Because if you don't have the cash, but it's something that you need or you got to have, well, what do? You charge it. Even though you're going to have high interest, you're going to charge it because it's something that you need, right? And so this is what I was talking about, the major purchase. That kind of leads to my next thing, is that housing interest rates are really rising and people are they're not buying. This is pushing people out. So these things kind of go hand in hand. So if inflation keeps going up, and this is what they're talking about, how they're going to combat inflation. They're going to combat it by raising the interest rates on homes, or just interest rates in general, to try to push down inflation. The only problem with that is that a lot of these homes are going to have to come down, because if interest rates goes up, that's fine. But if inflation, the houses are still too high. Some of these homes have appreciated in a year over $100,000, $200,000. That's almost unheard of, right? Because the reason why that's the case is because a lot of the demand was so high and there was not enough homes. So it's like anything. If you have a lot of supply, low demand, prices go down. If you have a low supply, high demand, prices go up, because people, it's just the nature. People want to buy what they can't have, and there's not enough of it. So the person that's selling pretty much can take advantage of those that are buying, and that's how it is. And now with interest rates going up so high, people are like, okay, well, I really can't afford that. Maybe they were able to afford it, but now that the interest rates went up, they need more money to put down on a home. So it's one of the two they're going to have to give. Either they're going to have to start lowering the interest rates, which they're probably not going to do because that's not what they were planning to do. Number two is that they're going to end up having to, these home prices are going to have to start going down, which we've already seen. And they're going to have to go down because you can do the math. You can go on a website like a mortgage calculator and type in the home value, the interest rate, how much you're going to put down. Do you have PMI? You can type in HOA. You can type in all that and you can see. So even if you get pre-approved, like, not everyone can afford a $2,000 mortgage plus property taxes and everything else. And the other thing is that you have to think about, there's other things that go with having a home versus renting. All of the cost of like repairs is on the landlord, right? When you rent, but all the cost of repairs when you buy something is on you. And see, some people they know that they can't handle that. They know that they can't suffice for that. So they take that into consideration. So what some people are doing, they're like, hey, I'm just going to rent a little bit longer. And then what I'm going to end up doing is I'm just going to, save a bunch more. And then from there, hope that they make it, hope that they can buy a home maybe in the next year or so. And also hoping that they can keep their job. We're also hoping that, their landlord doesn't raise rent, because that's something too, is like, how much more higher are these landlords going to keep raising rent? Like, how much more is y'all going to be able to go? Because eventually people not going to be able to pay them. So there's going to have to be a cap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. But, yeah, that was pretty much what I had today for this podcast. Like I said, quite a few different topics. I'm trying out this new format where you guys kind of see my face, see the screen. I think it makes it a little more engaging, as well as it also lets you guys kind of see my facial expression. And I just think it's just going to help in general with the channel, because that's the new thing. That's the thing. People want to see your face. People want to see you, that's just how it is. So, now that I have a better setup, we're just going to take it from here and see what happens. So, yeah. If you guys enjoy this podcast, please hit that thumbs up, share, subscribe, comment down below. What did you guys think of some of the topics that I talked about? And yeah, so hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll chat with you later. Peace.